The massive ship appeared in Earth space without warning. It was 10 times larger than any human vessel, its hull gleaming with unknown metals that seemed to shift color in the starlight. The ship's arrival sent every defense station into high alert. Admiral Sarah Chun stood in the command center, watching the alien vessel through the main screen. "No response to our hail signals, Admiral," reported Lieutenant Jackson from his station. "Keep trying, and get me a full scan of that thing." The alien ship finally responded after 2 hours of silence. A holographic image appeared in the command center. The creature that looked back at them was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern on its elongated head. When it spoke, its voice carried the tone of someone addressing a child. "I am Ambassador Veltar of the Great Zephyrian Empire. You primitive beings will listen carefully to what I say." Admiral Chun stepped forward. "This is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Terran Defense Force. You are in human space without permission. State your business." Veltar made a sound that might have been laughter. "Your space? Little mammal, you do not understand your place in the galaxy. The Zephyrian Empire has ruled among the stars for 1,000 of your years. We have brought 47 species under our protection. Now we offer the same gift to humanity." "What kind of gift?" Chun asked, though she already suspected the answer. "Surrender. Complete and immediate. You will give us 80% of all your resources. Your people will become third-class citizens of the Empire. In return, we will allow your species to continue existing." Chun felt her jaw clench. Around the command center, her officers exchanged dark looks. "And if we refuse, then you will be cleansed from the galaxy. Your planets will be purified for better use by superior beings." The ambassador's image flickered as he adjusted something outside the view. "We have studied your pathetic technology. You still use chemical rockets to reach orbit. Your ships are made of simple metal. Your weapons fire solid projectiles. We have plasma lances that can melt your vessels from 1,000 kilometers away. Our shields can stop anything you might throw at us." "You seem very confident," Chun said, "because we know what we face. 47 species have tried to resist us. All 47 learned the price of defying the Empire. You are nothing special, little mammals. Just another primitive race that thinks it can stand against the natural order." Emperor Zalthek sat on his crystal throne, watching the report from Ambassador Veltar. The throne room was vast, its walls covered with trophies from conquered worlds. Weapons, artwork, and skulls from dozens of species decorated the space. "The humans are considering our offer, your magnificence," Veltar reported. Their leader requested 30 days to discuss terms with their government. The Emperor leaned back in his throne. His species had ruled the galaxy for so long that resistance was almost unthinkable. 30 days? How generous of them to think they have a choice. "Shall I reduce the time limit, your magnificence?" "No. Let them have their 30 days. It will give them time to understand how hopeless their situation is. Show me their military assessment." A holographic display appeared before the throne. It showed Earth's orbital defense platforms, a collection of outdated missile launchers and energy weapons. The human fleet numbered 200 ships, all small and primitive by Imperial standards. "Threat level, negligible," read the report. "Estimated conquest time, 72 hours. Recommended force, 1 battle fleet." Emperor Zalthek nodded. "The same as always. These mammals will surrender when they realize what they face. If they do not," he gestured to a wall covered with the skulls of species that had chosen to fight, "we will add their bones to our collection." Admiral Chun called an emergency meeting of the Terran Defense Council. The room was small compared to the Emperor's throne room, with simple metal walls and basic furniture. But the people gathered there had something the Empire lacked: determination born of desperation. 30 days, Chun announced to the group. That's what we have to decide the future of our species. President Harrison leaned forward. What are our options? Surrender or fight? There's no third choice. Can we win? Asked Defense Minister Robert Stott. Chun was quiet for a long moment. Not with what they can see. What does that mean? Harrison asked. It means they've made the same mistake everyone makes when they first meet humans. They think what they see is all we have. Dr. Marcus Webb spoke from the far end of the table. Project Prometheus is ready. We just need the authorization. Harrison looked around the table. How long have we been preparing for this day? Since first contact with the Centauri traders 15 years ago, Webb replied. When we learned what the galaxy was really like. When we found out that peaceful species don't last long out here. Chun activated a secure holographic display. The Zephyrians counted our orbital platforms and our home fleet. They cataloged our weapons and found them primitive. They scanned our technology and found it basic. What they didn't find were the shipyards. The display showed star charts with dozens of hidden construction facilities, scattered across the outer solar system and nearby star systems. Each facility was disguised to look like an asteroid or built inside actual asteroids. How many ships? President Harrison asked. 3,000, Chun replied. All built with technology the Empire has never seen. All waiting for this moment. The room was silent. The Empire expected to face 200 primitive vessels. Instead, they would meet a fleet 15 times larger, equipped with weapons designed specifically to counter everything the Empire thought they knew about human capabilities. They called us primitive mammals, Chun continued. They think we're another species that will roll over and submit. They've never faced humans before. They don't understand what happens when you threaten Earth's children. President Harrison stood up. Then let's show them. Activate Project Prometheus. Send the message to all fleet commanders. Humanity does not kneel. Ambassador Veltar received a human response exactly 30 days after delivering the ultimatum. Admiral Chun appeared on his screen, her face calm and determined. Ambassador Veltar, I have humanity's answer to your Empire's generous offer. I hope your people have chosen wisely, little mammal. We have. Here's our response. No. Veltar's four eyes widened. You refuse? Do you understand what this means? It means you should have done your homework better. It means you should have learned more about humans before you threatened us. Most importantly, it means you're about to discover why nobody in this galaxy should ever corner Earth's children. The communication ended. Veltar stared at the blank screen, then activated his emergency beacon to call for the Imperial fleet. The humans had made their choice. Now they would face the consequences. But in the hidden shipyards scattered across human space, 3,000 warships powered up their engines and prepared for battle. The Empire was about to learn that humans had been preparing for this war long, before the first Zephyrian ship entered their space. Galaxy was about to discover what happened when predators disguised themselves as prey. The Zephyrian scout ships moved through Earth's solar system like ghosts, their advanced sensors recording everything. Captain Dex War commanded the lead scout vessel, his orders clear. Catalog all human defenses for the coming invasion. Scan complete of the third orbital platform, reported his sensor officer. Same primitive technology as the others. Chemical explosives and basic energy weapons. How primitive? Dex War asked. The energy weapons appear to be first-generation plasma cannons. No quantum enhancement. The missiles use solid fuel propulsion. Their targeting systems are purely electronic, no psionic integration. Dex War shook his head in disgust. Mark it as threat level 0. What about their fleet? 212 vessels detected. Largest ship is 800 meters long. Hull composition is basic titanium steel alloy. No energy shielding detected. Their weapons are kinetic projectiles and primitive energy beams. Any sign of quantum manipulation technology? None detected, Captain. These beings appear to have barely mastered faster-than-light travel, far beyond the Zephyrian Scout's detection range. Admiral Chun watched their movements from the bridge of the UHCS Indomitable. The ship was hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid in the outer belt. Its hull coated with materials that bent scanner beams around it like light around a black hole. They're cataloging our decoy. Platforms, reported Commander Torres from the sensor. Station. Good. Let them see exactly what we want them to see. Chun replied. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood beside her, studying the tactical display. How long before they finish their survey? Another week, maybe 2. They're being thorough. Think they suspect anything? Chun smiled coldly. Look at their scan patterns. They're not searching for hidden facilities. They're just counting targets. They think they already know everything they need to know. Dr. Marcus Webb appeared on the main screen from his laboratory deep inside the asteroid. Behind him, technicians worked on devices that looked nothing like the primitive weapons the scouts had cataloged. Phase drive tests are complete, Webb reported. We can now move a full battleship instantly to any point within 50,000 kilometers. The Zephyrians have never seen anything like it. Weapons testing? Rodriguez asked. The kinetic penetrators are performing beyond expectations. We're accelerating tungsten rods to 97% of light speed. Their quantum shields are designed to stop energy weapons and slow-moving projectiles. They've never faced relativistic kill vehicles. Chun nodded. And the hybrid plasma systems? Ready for deployment. We took their leaked technology and improved it. Our plasma lances now burn 3 times hotter than Imperial weapons. Combined with our targeting systems, we can punch through their armor at maximum range. The hidden shipyards across human space hummed with activity. Inside the asteroid series, now completely hollowed out and converted into a massive construction facility. The final warships of the human fleet received their crews and weapons. Captain Jake Thompson walked through the corridors of his destroyer, the UHCS Phantom. Like all human warships, it looked crude from the outside, just another metal hull with visible weapon ports and sensor arrays. The Zephyrians would see it and mark it as primitive. They would be wrong. Stealth systems online, reported his chief engineer. We're invisible to their sensors, even at close range. Phase drive status? Green across the board, sir. We can appear behind their formation, fire our full weapons load, and disappear before they can target us. Thompson smiled. That's exactly what we're going to do. Emperor Zolthek reviewed the scout reports in his private chamber. The data confirmed everything he expected. Another primitive species with basic technology and outdated weapons. 47 species, he said to his aide, General Vextar. 47 species have tried to resist the Empire. Do you know what they all had in common? They all believed they could win your magnificence. Exactly. And do you know why they all lost? Because they did not understand the Empire's power. The Emperor walked to his trophy wall, running his fingers along the skull of a creature from the Altair system. No, General. They lost because they were content with their primitive ways. They never pushed beyond what seemed possible. They accepted limitations. And these humans, your magnificence, are no different. Look at the reports. Chemical rockets, metal hulls, kinetic weapons. They are exactly what they appear to be. A young species that hasn't learned its place in the galaxy. General Vextar studied the tactical display showing Earth's defenses. The fleet is ready to deploy your magnificence. Admiral Kexman reports full readiness. 800 ships should be more than sufficient. Have him begin the operation. but in the hidden command center beneath Luna's surface, Admiral Chun received very different reports from her reconnaissance teams. Zephyrian battle fleet. Tertius is moving toward our space, reported. Intelligence Officer Park. 800 vessels led by the Super Dreadnought. Dominion's Edge. Their formation? Standard Imperial battle array. Heavy ships in the center, escorts on the flanks, support vessels in the rear. They're not even trying to hide their approach. Chun turned to Captain Rodriguez. They think this is going to be like their previous conquests. Quick, overwhelming, and one-sided. In a way, they're right, Rodriguez replied. It will be one-sided. Deploy the fleet. All ships to assigned positions. Begin Operation Ghost Protocol. Across human space, the real fleet began to move. Unlike the Zephyrian formation, the human ships didn't travel in neat formations that could be easily tracked. They moved individually or in small groups, using the phase drives to jump between hiding spots. The human strategy was unlike anything the Empire had faced. Where other species had built massive defense platforms and concentrated their fleets around important worlds, humanity had scattered their forces throughout space. There would be no single decisive battle where Imperial firepower could crush the defenders. Instead, the humans would fight like wolves, appearing from nowhere, striking hard, and vanishing before the enemy could respond. Commander Maria Santos received her orders aboard the UHCS Retribution. Proceed to Grid 77 Alpha. Wait for the Imperial fleet to engage the decoy platforms. When they're focused on the fake defenses, hit their rear guard with everything you have. Understood, Admiral. What about their shields? The kinetic penetrators will go right through them. Their quantum shields are designed to stop energy weapons. They've never faced solid projectiles moving at 97% of light speed. And after we hit them, disappear. Let them wonder where the attack came from. Let them start to doubt what they think they know about us. The Zephyrian fleet approached Earth's solar system with confidence. Admiral Kexmon stood on his flagship's bridge, reviewing the target list. The human orbital platforms would be destroyed first. Then their pathetic fleet would be crushed. Scan shows the humans are arranging their ships in defensive formations around their home world, reported his tactical officer, as expected. They will try to make a brave stand. It will not matter. Shall we demand their surrender first, Admiral? Kexmon looked at the tactical display showing the weak human defenses. No, the Emperor wants this finished quickly. We will show the galaxy what happens to species that refuse Imperial generosity. But the tactical display was showing him exactly what the humans wanted him to see. The real human fleet was already in position, hidden throughout the solar system, waiting for the perfect moment to spring their trap. The Empire was about to learn that sometimes the prey was actually the predator. Admiral Kexman's flagship Dominion's Edge dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. Behind him, 800 Imperial warships materialized in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with the power of 1,000 conquered worlds. Begin scanning for human defensive positions, Kexman ordered. Sir, we're detecting the orbital platforms exactly where our scouts reported them, but the sensor officer paused, confusion clear in his voice. But what? There are no human ships in defensive formation around their home world. In fact, we're not detecting their fleet at all. Kexman frowned. Expand the scan. They must be hiding behind their moon or planets. Scanning. Sir, I'm detecting approximately 50 human vessels scattered throughout the system, but they're not in any recognizable formation. Most seem to be moving away from us. Cowards, Kexman spat. They're running. Begin pursuit of the fleeing vessels. We'll hunt them down one by one. But as the Imperial fleet began to move deeper into the solar system, A single transmission reached them on all frequencies. Admiral Chun's voice was calm and clear. "Imperial Fleet, this is Admiral Sarah Chun of the Terran Defense Force. You should have taken the hint when we said no. Now you're about to learn why humanity doesn't kneel to anyone. Locate the source of that transmission," Kexman ordered. "Sir, it appears to be coming from everywhere and nowhere. I can't pinpoint the origin." Suddenly, space itself seemed to tear apart 2,000 kilometers behind the Imperial rearguard. 3 human destroyers materialized from nowhere, their weapons already firing. But these weren't the primitive kinetic weapons the Imperial intelligence had reported. Tungsten rods accelerated to near light. Speed slammed into the rear Imperial cruiser before its shields could adapt. The quantum barriers that had protected Zephyrian ships for centuries proved useless against solid matter moving at 97% of light speed. The rods punched through the shields like they weren't there, through the armor like it was paper, and through the ship's core like it was empty space. The Imperial cruiser Eternal Might exploded in a brilliant flash. Its debris scattered across 1,000 kilometers. "What just happened?" Kexman shouted. Before anyone could answer, the 3 human ships vanished as suddenly as they had appeared. Space folded around them, and they were gone. "Sir, we're detecting massive energy spikes throughout the system," the sensor officer reported, his voice shaking. "Something is moving out there, but I can't get a clear reading." Commander Jake Thompson smiled from the bridge of his destroyer Phantom as they materialized behind another Imperial formation. "Target the heavy cruiser on the left flank. Fire all kinetic penetrators." "Firing," his weapons officer called out. 6 more tungsten rods streaked across space at impossible speeds. The Imperial heavy cruiser Destiny's Blade tried to rotate its shields to intercept, but the rods arrived before the ship could react. The first rod punched through the engine section. The second destroyed the main reactor. The third, fourth, and fifth rods tore through the ship's center, while the 6th rod vaporized the bridge. "Jump us out of here," Thompson ordered. "Next target is Grid 47. The Phantom disappeared, leaving behind the wreckage of another Imperial vessel. Captain Elena Rodriguez watched from the bridge of her battleship Indomitable as the Imperial fleet tried to understand what was happening to them. "They're starting to group up for defense," she reported to Admiral Chun. "Good. That's exactly what we want them to do. When they cluster together, they become easier targets for the big weapons. Begin Phase 2. All battleships, this is Rodriguez. Target the Imperial Center formation. Full weapons load." 12 human battleships materialized in a perfect sphere around the tightly grouped Imperial heavy units. Each battleship carried weapons that the Empire had never imagined. Hybrid plasma kinetic cannons that fired superheated tungsten at relativistic speeds. "Fire!" Rodriguez commanded. The space around the Imperial formation lit up like a new star. Dozens of plasma-enhanced kinetic rounds struck Imperial shields from every direction simultaneously. The quantum barriers, designed to stop energy weapons or slow projectiles, had no defense against the hybrid attack. 7 Imperial heavy cruisers and 2 battleships died in the first salvo. "Impossible," Admiral Kexman breathed as he watched his formation disintegrate. "Their weapons can't penetrate our shields. Our intelligence confirmed their primitiveness. Sir, whatever these weapons are, they're not what our scouts reported. These aren't kinetic projectiles. They're something new. All ships, concentrate fire on the human vessels. Destroy them now." But when the Imperial fleet turned their weapons on the human battleships, they found empty space. The human vessels had vanished, using their phase drives to jump to new positions before the Imperial weapons could lock onto them. Commander Maria Santos appeared behind the Imperial left flank with her squadron of heavy cruisers. "Target their command ship's escort vessels. We need to isolate their flagship. Her ships fired a coordinated spread of kinetic penetrators and plasma bolts. The Imperial escorts, caught completely off guard by the new attack angle, lost 3 ships in the opening seconds. Phase jumped to position 7, Santos ordered. Her ships disappeared before the Imperial return fire could reach them. Admiral Kexman stared at his tactical display in growing horror. In 30 minutes of combat, he had lost nearly 50 ships. The humans had lost none. This wasn't a battle. It was a massacre. How are they doing this? He demanded. Sir, their ships appear to be using some form of instantaneous transportation. They appear, fire, and vanish before we can respond. Our targeting computers can't lock onto them. And their weapons? Sir, our science teams are analyzing the debris. These aren't the primitive kinetic weapons our scouts reported. These are advanced penetrating rounds moving at nearly light speed, combined with plasma enhancement. Our shields have no defense against them. Kexman felt something he had never experienced in a century of Imperial service. Fear. Send a message to the flagship. Tell them we need reinforcements immediately. But Admiral Chun wasn't finished with the Imperial fleet. Phase 3 was about to begin. All Wolfpack squadrons, begin harassment attacks, she ordered. I want them to think human ships are everywhere. Make them paranoid. Make them afraid. Throughout the solar system, small groups of human destroyers and frigates began appearing and disappearing like ghosts. They would materialize, fire a few kinetic rounds, destroy an Imperial escort or transport, and vanish before any retaliation was possible. The Imperial fleet, which had entered the system in perfect formation with absolute confidence, was now scattered and confused. Ships fired at shadows. Commanders reported attacks that their sensors couldn't confirm. The psychological effect was devastating. Sir, we've lost 137 vessels, the tactical officer reported to Admiral Kexman. Their losses are 0 confirmed kills. 0? How is that possible? Sir, we haven't been able to maintain target lock on any human vessel long enough to deliver effective fire. Kexman looked at his tactical display. The confident attack formation was gone. His ships were scattered across the system, running from an enemy they couldn't catch or predict. For the first time in Imperial history, a Zephyrian fleet was losing a battle not because they were outnumbered or outgunned, but because they had completely misunderstood their enemy. Admiral, his communications officer, called out. We're receiving another transmission from the human commander. Admiral Chun's face appeared on the main screen. Behind her, the bridge of her ship looked calm and organized, a sharp contrast to the chaos on the Imperial flagship. Admiral Kexman, I believe you're beginning to understand your situation. You came here expecting to face a primitive species with basic weapons. Instead, you found humans. We don't fight the way other species fight. We don't play by rules that make us easy targets. Your weapons, Kexman said. Our intelligence report said you had only kinetic projectiles. Your intelligence was correct. We do use kinetic projectiles. We just use them in ways you never imagined. Here's a free lesson about humans. We don't just accept the limitations of our technology. We push beyond what's possible until we create something new. What do you want? Kexman asked. For you to leave our space and never come back. Take what's left of your fleet and go home. Tell your emperor that humanity is not another conquest. Or a warning. The transmission ended, leaving Admiral Kexman staring at a tactical display that showed the wreckage of his once mighty fleet scattered throughout the human solar system. For the first time in Zephyrian history, an Imperial admiral gave the order to retreat. Emperor Zalthek stood in his throne room, staring at the tactical report from Admiral Kexman. The words seemed impossible. Fleet casualties, 218 vessels destroyed. Enemy casualties, 0 confirmed. Requesting immediate withdrawal. How? The Emperor whispered. How did primitive mammals destroy a quarter of Battlefleet Tertius? General Vexstar reviewed the combat data with growing disbelief. Your Magnificence, the humans appear to have technology our science teams never detected. Their ships can teleport instantly across thousands of kilometers. Their weapons penetrate quantum shields as if they don't exist. Show me the weapon analysis. The holographic display showed the remains of an Imperial cruiser. The damage patterns were unlike anything in Imperial experience. Perfect holes punched through armor plating that should have been impenetrable. No energy burns, no plasma scarring, just complete penetration. Kinetic weapons moving at 97% of light speed, General Vexstar explained. Enhanced with plasma fields that destabilize molecular bonds on impact. Your Magnificence, these aren't primitive weapons. They're revolutionary. Emperor Zalthek felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries, uncertainty. The Empire had ruled the galaxy through superior technology and overwhelming force. If these humans could neutralize both advantages, prepare the Grand Armada, he commanded. Every available ship. I will lead this campaign personally. Your Magnificence, perhaps we should study these new human capabilities first. Learn how to counter them. No. The Emperor's voice echoed through the chamber. 47 species have knelt before the Empire. I will not allow mammals from a primitive world to break that record. They think their new toys make them special. They will learn that quantity has a quality all its own. Dr. Marcus Webb worked frantically in his laboratory aboard the hidden station Prometheus. The breathing space admiral Chun had bought them was being used to push human technology even further beyond Imperial understanding. Adaptive shielding tests are complete, he reported to Admiral Chun via secure communication. Our shields now analyze incoming fire and adjust their frequency in real time. Imperial plasma weapons will be useless against us. What about their kinetic weapons? Chun asked. Their kinetic rounds move at roughly 60% of light speed. Our new armor can absorb that much impact. But we've developed something better. Reactive armor that actually channels kinetic energy into our own weapon systems. So, their attacks will power our weapons? Exactly. The harder they hit us, the harder we can hit back. Admiral Chun reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The Imperial Grand Armada was assembling over 2,000 ships, including the Emperor's personal flagship. It was the largest military force ever gathered in galactic history. They're bringing everything they have, she told Captain Rodriguez. Good. That means we can destroy their entire fleet in one battle instead of hunting them down ship by ship. The Emperor's ship is the Celestial Dominion, 5 kilometers long, heavily armored, with enough firepower to crack a planet. It's never been damaged in combat. Rodriguez smiled. Then it's about time someone changed that record. Admiral Maria Santos reviewed her orders aboard the UHCS Retribution. Operation Righteous Fury was humanity's most ambitious plan yet, a coordinated strike that would appear to be 3 separate attacks but would converge at exactly the right moment to shatter the Imperial formation. Remember, she told her squadron commanders, the Empire fights like they always have. Massive formations, overwhelming firepower, direct assault. They expect us to meet them head-on like every other species they've conquered. And instead, asked Commander Phillips, instead, we're going to show them what happens when predators stop pretending to be prey. Emperor Zalthak stood on the bridge of the Celestial Dominion as the Grand Armada entered the human solar system. Behind him, 2,000 Imperial warships formed a wall of metal and energy that stretched across space. "Magnificent," he breathed. "No species has ever faced such power and lived to tell about it. Sir, we're detecting human ships throughout the system, but they're not information. They appear to be scattered randomly. They know they cannot win a direct confrontation. They will try their hit-and-run tactics again. It will not matter. We have too many ships for them to eliminate one by one." But Admiral Chun had no intention of fighting the same battle twice. From her command ship hidden inside an artificial asteroid, she watched the Imperial fleets approach. "They think we'll use the same tactics that worked before. They're wrong. All ships, this is Admiral Chun. Operation Righteous Fury is now active. Execute Attack Plan Omega." What happened next would be studied by military historians for generations. The scattered human ships didn't attack the Imperial fleet directly. Instead, they began to move in patterns that seemed random but were actually precisely calculated. Commander Thompson's destroyer squadron appeared behind the Imperial left flank and fired a full spread of kinetic penetrators, not at Imperial ships, but at empty space. The tungsten rods, moving at near-light speed, would take exactly 47 seconds to reach their target coordinates. Captain Santos's heavy cruisers materialized above the Imperial formation and fired their plasma-enhanced rounds, again. Not at Imperial ships, but at carefully calculated points in space. Admiral Rodriguez's battleships appeared below the Imperial fleet and launched their most powerful weapons, singularity torpedoes that would create artificial gravity wells at specific locations. Thought to the Imperial observers, it looked like the humans had made a terrible tactical error. They were firing at empty space, wasting their ammunition while the Grand Armada maintained its course. Emperor Zolthek laughed. "They're panicking. Their weapons aren't even aimed at us." But Admiral Chun was counting down the seconds. 30 seconds to convergence. The Imperial fleet continued its advance toward Earth, confident that the human attack had failed. 20 seconds to convergence. Emperor Zolthek noticed something strange. Why aren't the humans firing again? Why did they just fire once and retreat? 15 seconds to convergence. General Vexstar studied the tactical display. "Your Magnificence, I'm detecting some unusual energy readings ahead of our formation. 10 seconds to convergence. Sir, there's something wrong with space itself directly in front of us. 5 seconds to convergence. All ships, brace for impact," Admiral Chung commanded. The human weapons arrived at their targets simultaneously. Dozens of kinetic penetrators, plasma bolts, and singularity torpedoes struck the same area of space at exactly the same moment. But they hadn't been aimed at that empty space. They had been aimed at where the Imperial fleet would be when the weapons arrived. The Grand Armada flew directly into a concentrated barrage that had been fired 47 seconds earlier. The Imperial ships, moving at high speed in tight formation, couldn't avoid the precisely timed ambush. Kinetic penetrators moving at near-light speed slammed into Imperial hulls. Plasma bolts destabilized shields and armor. Singularity torpedoes created gravity wells that pulled ships out of formation and into each other. In the first 10 seconds of the attack, the Empire lost over 300 ships. Emperor Zolthek watched in horror as his perfect formation disintegrated around him. How did they do that? How did they know where we would be? Your Magnificence, they didn't aim at where we were. They aimed at where we would be. They calculated our exact position 47 seconds in advance. Impossible. No species has that level of tactical precision. But Admiral Chun was already implementing Phase 2 of the operation. All Wolfpacks begin final assault. Target their command ship. Human destroyers appeared throughout the Imperial formation, no longer content to strike and vanish. These ships carried the new adaptive armor and reactive shielding. They could take hits and keep fighting. Commander Thompson led his squadron in a direct assault on the Emperor's flagship. Imperial plasma lances struck his destroyer, only to have the energy absorbed by reactive armor and channeled into Thompson's own weapons. Impossible. Emperor Zalthek breathed as he watched human ships absorb his most powerful weapons and convert them into attacks against his own. Fleet. Captain Rodriguez materialized, her battleship directly alongside the Celestial Dominion, and fired a full spread of Singularity torpedoes at point-blank range. The massive Imperial flagship shuddered as artificial gravity wells tore at its hull. Your Magnificence, we're taking critical damage to the primary hull. The humans have broken through our shields. For the first time in his 1,000-year reign, Emperor Zalthek felt fear. His impenetrable flagship was dying around him, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. Admiral Chen's voice reached him on the Imperial command frequency. Emperor Zalthek, you're no longer fighting primitives. You're at war with humanity. And when humans go to war, we don't just seek victory. We rewrite the rules of what's possible. The Emperor watched as his Grand Armada, the greatest military force in galactic history, was systematically destroyed by an enemy he had dismissed as primitive mammals. All ships, he commanded in a broken voice, retreat. Full retreat. But as his damaged flagship limped away from the battle, Emperor Zalthek realized that retreat might not be enough. The humans had done more than win a battle. They had proven that the Empire was not invincible. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the UHCS Indomitable, watching the scattered remains of the Imperial Grand Armada limping away from Earth's solar system. Around her, the command crew worked quietly, tracking the retreating Zephyrian ships. Damage report on our fleet? She asked. 17 ships with minor hull damage, 31 ships requiring repairs to weapon systems. No ships lost, reported Commander Torres. And the Empire's losses? 843 vessels destroyed, 412 heavily damaged. The Emperor's flagship is barely operational. Chun nodded. The numbers told the story, but they didn't capture the real significance of what had happened. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Zephyrian Empire had been decisively beaten. Word would spread. Admiral, incoming transmission from Earth Command, the communications officer announced. President Harrison appeared on the main screen. Admiral, congratulations on the victory. What's our next move? We take the fight to them, Chun replied. The Empire thinks of this defeat as a temporary setback. They'll rebuild their fleets and try again in a few years. We need to make sure they understand that this wasn't a lucky victory. It was a demonstration of human capability. What do you propose? Operation Righteous Fury. We take the war to Imperial space. We show them that their core worlds aren't safe anymore. Dr. Webb's research teams have been working around the clock since the battle. The captured Imperial technology, combined with human innovation, had produced breakthroughs that even Chun found hard to believe. Long-range phase drives are now operational, Webb reported. We can move our entire fleet to any star system within 500 light-years instantly. The Empire's early warning networks won't detect us until we're already there. What about their planetary defenses? We've analyzed the Imperial shield technology. Their planetary barriers are designed to stop orbital bombardment and large-scale invasions. They're not designed to stop what we're planning, which is precision strikes against military targets only. We're not here to conquer their worlds or hurt their civilians. We're here to prove that nowhere in their empire is beyond human reach. Captain Rodriguez received her assignment 3 days later, command of Task Force Alpha. 40 ships tasked with striking the Imperial naval yards at Vega Prime. Remember, Admiral Chun told her during the briefing, This isn't about destruction. It's about demonstration. We hit their military infrastructure, disable their shipyards, and leave. The goal is to make them understand that we can appear anywhere, anytime. What if their defense fleets try to stop us? Then we show them that the Battle of Seoul wasn't a fluke. Rodriguez smiled. Understood, Admiral. The strike on Vega Prime came without warning. Imperial sensors detected nothing until 40 human warships materialized in orbit around their most important shipyard complex. The human fleet appeared at maximum weapons range and immediately opened fire. But these weren't the crude, kinetic weapons the Empire expected. Human technology had evolved again. The new weapons were gravity lances, devices that created focused gravitational fields, capable of crushing starships from the inside out. The Imperial orbital platforms, designed to stop energy weapons and projectiles, had no defense against weapons that attacked the very fabric of space-time. In 30 minutes, the entire Vega Prime military complex was reduced to debris. Admiral Rexter, commanding the Vega Prime defense fleet, watched in horror as his orbital fortresses collapsed under their own weight. How are they doing this? How are they manipulating gravity? Sir, our science teams have no explanation. These weapons operate on principles we don't understand. Send a fleet-wide message to all Imperial commands. The humans have technology beyond our current understanding. They can appear anywhere without warning and deploy weapons we cannot counter. The message reached Emperor Zalthek as he sat in his damaged throne room, reviewing reports of human attacks across the Empire. In just 2 weeks, human forces had struck 12 major Imperial installations. Each attack followed the same pattern: sudden appearance, devastating precision strikes, immediate withdrawal. They're everywhere, General Vextar reported. Our early warning networks detect nothing. Our defense fleets arrive too late. Our weapons are ineffective against their technology. How many systems have they hit? 17. Your Magnificence. But that's not the worst part. What could be worse than this? The subject species are beginning to rebel. The Altarians have declared independence. The Centauri Federation has expelled all Imperial administrators. 3 more species have stopped paying tribute. Emperor Zalthek felt his 1,000-year empire crumbling around him. The humans had done more than defeat his fleets. They had proven that the empire could be challenged successfully. Sir, incoming transmission from the human fleet. It's Admiral Chun. The human commander appeared on the throne room's main display. She stood on the bridge of her flagship, which now orbited Zephyros Prime itself, the Imperial homeworld. Emperor Zalthek, I believe it's time we discuss terms. The Emperor stared at the screen in shock. You're in my home system. How is that possible? The same way everything else has been possible. Human innovation combined with human determination. You thought you were dealing with another primitive species that would submit to your empire. Instead, you found predators disguised as prey. Around the Imperial homeworld, the human fleet materialized ship by ship. First dozens, then hundreds of vessels appeared in perfect formation around the planet that had ruled the galaxy for a millennium. Your terms? The Emperor asked, his voice barely a whisper. Complete withdrawal from all human space. Recognition of human territorial sovereignty. Reparations for your attempted invasion. And most importantly, a guarantee that the Empire will never threaten Earth or her colonies again. And if I refuse? Admiral Chen gestured to the tactical display behind her, which showed human ships positioned around every major Imperial world. Then you'll discover that humanity doesn't just fight wars, Emperor. We fight extinctions. When Earth's children go to war, we don't stop until the threat is eliminated completely. You would destroy our entire civilization? We would do whatever is necessary to protect our species and our freedom. The choice is yours. Emperor Zolthek looked around his throne room at the skulls of species that had defied the Empire. For the first time, he understood that he was looking at his potential fate. "I accept your terms," he said quietly. "Wise choice. You have 48 hours to begin Imperial withdrawal from human space. We'll be watching." Admiral Chung stood on the observation deck of the Indomitable, watching the Imperial fleet departing from Earth's solar system for the final time. The war was over, but its consequences would reshape the galaxy. "Admiral, incoming reports from across Imperial space," Commander Torres announced. 15 more species have declared independence. The Empire is fragmenting. Captain Rodriguez joined Chun at the observation window. "Do you think we did the right thing?" "We defended our species and our freedom. What the Empire's former subjects do with their independence is up to them. The galaxy is going to be a very different place." Chun nodded. "The age of galactic empires is ending. The age of free species is beginning." Lieutenant Jackson approached with a final report. "Admiral, the last Imperial ship has left human space. We're receiving gratitude messages from over 40 species that have broken free from Imperial control. Any response from Earth Command?" President Harrison sends his congratulations. "The Terran Defense Council is officially declaring the war over. We won." Admiral Chun looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them, dozens of species were experiencing freedom for the first time in centuries. The humans had started this war to defend their own independence. They had ended it by giving independence to half the galaxy. "Lieutenant, record this in the ship's log. The Zephyrian Empire made a critical error in judgment. They believed that humanity was just another primitive species that would submit to their rule. They discovered instead that humans don't kneel to anyone. When threatened with extinction, we don't just fight back. We rewrite the rules of what's possible. They called us primitive mammals," Chung continued. "They thought our technology was crude and our tactics predictable. They learned too late that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology or our tactics. It's our refusal to accept that anything is impossible." "What now, Admiral?" Rodriguez asked. Chun smiled as she watched the last Imperial ship disappear into hyperspace. "Now we build something better. The Empire ruled through fear and overwhelming force. We'll show the galaxy that there's another way. Cooperation between free species, protection of the weak, and the absolute right of every sentient being to determine their own destiny. And if someone tries to build another empire, then they'll learn what the Zephyrians learned. When you threaten Earth's children, you don't just face our weapons or our ships. You face our determination to remain free, no matter the cost." The human fleet began its journey home, leaving behind a galaxy forever changed. The age of empires was over. The age of freedom had begun. And throughout the stars, species that had knelt in submission for 1,000 years stood tall again, knowing that somewhere among the stars, humanity was watching and ready to defend the right of all beings to be free.